gentlemen, Bungle, hope you're doing well and I hope you're having a great day. Today we're going over the IS-2 and Enlisted, the World War II free-to-play first-person shooter. Starting off with an overview, you may be asking yourself, Bungle, what is the IS-2? Well, the IS-2 is obtained in the Battle of Berlin campaign for Russia, and this comes as a Tanker 2 class at level 35. Now keep in mind, if you have the IS-1 unlocked, the Tanker 2 class, you can go ahead and research the modifications option, so that way when you obtain the IS-2 at level 35, you can go ahead and fully max it out without waiting to obtain the tank. So this basically means that the tank will perform better as you go and research the modifications. You can basically have the vehicle maxed out, so that way it performs very well. It maneuvers quickly on the battlefield. Its turret traverse isn't slow. So that is a good way ahead when you unlock this vehicle. Now moving down to its performance, you may be wondering, Bungle, how does the IS-2 perform? Well, the main takeaway is the 122mm cannon, the D-25T Cannon. This comes with 2 rounds, your armor-piercing high explosive, and of course, your high explosive. Pretty much to be blunt, the IS-2 can deal with any German armor. It can deal with the King Tiger or the Tiger 2P. It can deal with the Tiger E. It can deal with the Panther, any tank destroyer that a German player may use in the Battle of Berlin campaign. Now keep in mind, the 122mm cannon does suffer with approximately a 20-second reload. So keep in mind, if you are engaging, let's say, a swarm of infantry, or you're facing off, let's say, against a Tiger 2, even a Tiger, you have to keep in mind that your shot placements do matter, especially a Tiger 2. If you're aiming at a Tiger 2, typically my recommendations is that the turret of a Tiger 2P is very, very bad. As a result, if you aim at the turret ring or at the cheeks of a Tiger 2, you will find that you will easily penetrate the Tiger 2 and take it out of the game. Now keep in mind, however, if you fail to penetrate a Tiger 2 or you have a bad shot, then you're going to be faced with, reloading for 20 seconds, exposing yourself to enemy fire, as well as the possibility of enemy infantry swarming you and throwing demo packs and taking out your tank. If needed, you have a coaxial 7.62 DT machine gun. This machine gun is good, of course, at crowd control and keeping away enemy infantry as much as you can in between reloading. That's kind of what I use to manage this tank on the battlefield. Now the question you may be asking yourself is, Bungle, how is the armor on the IS-2? Well, if you compare it to the IS-1, which is pretty much, it's the same profile as an IS-1, except this time you just have a bigger gun, the 122mm cannon versus the 85, you realize it will suffer from the same flaw. If you're facing against a player that is using a Tiger 2 or a Tiger that knows what they are doing, even a Panther, or even a Panzer 4 really, they can go and penetrate your tank pretty easily. The IS-2 suffers from not really having any sloped armor. It is very easy for a 88mm round to go and penetrate this tank. The only times you will find yourself really doing well or surviving is usually if you're not really facing a skilled player. You can find that you can punish them very, very easily with this tank. But in general, the armor on this tank isn't going to be the saving grace. When it comes to facing against a Tiger or even the King Tiger, you need to get that shot off first, and you need to know where you are aiming so you can eliminate that enemy tank. All the shots are one shot, one kills. Very, very easy to do with this tank. Now lastly, when we talk about mobility, in my opinion, this tank performs better than, let's say, the King Tiger. The IS-2 is surprisingly very, very mobile. The IS-2 is very, very flexible. You can maneuver it on the battlefield. And when I was taking it out and using it, I didn't really find an issue with traversing the battlefield with this tank. Now moving down to, is it worth it? In my opinion, yes. This is a great example when Enlisted adds in new content, especially at the higher levels of campaigns, is that you want something rewarding. And in this case, for this update, especially for the Battle of Berlin, for the Axis, and for the Allies, you realize here that yes, it is actually indeed worth your time to invest, to go and grind down these campaigns, because you get rewarded with very, very powerful machines. The IS-2 is a great example of a top tier reward that a player that grinds and puts a lot of time into a certain campaign is rewarded with a very, very powerful vehicle they can use and play against other players that haven't really reached that campaign level yet. I know people can raise the question, you know, if it's fair that an IS-2 is going off against Panzer IVJs and everything like that, but that is the Enlisted experience. It rewards players that go and puts time in the game and grinds to the top. And as a result, if you are the top dog in that match and there isn't a Tiger or a King Tiger to, you know, deal with you, well, then you can kind of see the benefits of the reward that you get from basically grinding and putting all that time into that campaign to go in and sail club some noobs. That's the nature of the beast in Enlisted, really. If you've been playing the game, if you have the high tier content, there are games where you will go and club against newer players, and that's just the way it is. But it also can be countered, of course, by demo packs, by player suicide bombing you with an aircraft, stuff like that. So this tank is not invulnerable, right? It can be taken out, especially if newer players that know what they're doing and can use demo packs, well, they can take your tank out. So, but that's my 2 cents. Definitely worth the time, worth the grind. I would highly recommend getting this vehicle. If you reach this point in the video, new viewer, possibly new subscriber, I hope today is the day that I earn your subscription. Have you sub and mash that like button. It does help me with the YouTube algorithm. Returning sub or returning viewer. Let me know your thoughts. Other than that, I hope you all have a great day. Take care.